Good morning, guys. Here we are. We're the end of Stuart Little. Last chapter, last week of school. I am so excited. I got to see so many of you yesterday. It just made my whole year, really. I loved seeing you. I loved getting hugs and pictures and gifts. Y'all are all so kind and sweet. So we're here. We're right here at the end, guys. I'm so proud of you all. Here is the last chapter of Stuart Little. It is short and sweet, and it's chapter 15, heading north. Here we go. Stuart slept under the canoe last night. He awakened at 4 to find that the rain had stopped. The day would break clear. Already the birds were beginning to stir and make bright sounds in the branches overhead, and Stuart never let a bird pass without looking to see if it was Margallo. At the edge of the town, he found a filling station and stopped to take on some gas. 5, please, said Stuart to the attendant. The man looked at the tiny automobile in amazement. 5 what? He asked. 5 drops, said Stuart, but the man shook his head and said that he couldn't sell just that small amount of gas. Why can't you? Demanded Stuart. You need the money, and I need the gas. Why can't we work something out between us? The filling station man went inside and came back with a medicine dropper. You know, like those little medicine things you have to take whenever you're sick. Stuart unscrewed the cap of the tank and the man put in 5 drops of gasoline. I've never done anything like this before, he said. Better look at the oil, too, said Stuart. After everything had been checked and the money had been paid, Stuart climbed in, started the engine, and drove out onto the highway. The sky was growing brighter, and along the river the mists of morning hung in the early light. The village was still asleep, and Stuart's car purred along smoothly. Stuart felt refreshed and glad to be on the move again. Half a mile out of town, the road forked. One road seemed to go off toward the west, and the other road continued north. Stuart drew up to the side of the northbound road and got out to look the situation over. Okay. Here he is at leaving the gas station with his little car. And here he is on the road, okay? To his surprise, he discovered that there was a man sitting in a ditch leaning against a signpost. The man wore spurs on his legs. He also wore a heavy leather belt, and Stuart realized that he must be a repairman for the telephone company. Good morning, said Stuart in a friendly voice. The repairman raised one hand to his head in a salute, and Stuart ran down in the ditch beside him and breathed deeply of the fresh, sweet air. It's going to be a fine day, he observed. Yes, agreed the repairman, a fine day. I'm looking forward to climbing my poles. I wish you fair skies and a tight grip, said Stuart. By the way, do you ever see any birds at the tops of your poles? Yes, I see birds in great numbers, replied the repairman. Well, if you ever run across a bird named Margallo, said Stuart, I'd appreciate it if you would drop me a line. Here's my card. Describe the bird, said the repairman, taking out a pad and pencil. Brown, said Stuart, brown with a streak of yellow on her bosom. Know where she comes from? Asked the man. She comes from fields once tall with wheat, from pastures deep in fern and thistle. She comes from vales of meadow sweet, and she loves to whistle. The repairman wrote it down briefly. Fields, wheat, pastures, fern and thistle, vales, meadow sweet, enjoys whistling. Then he put the pad back in his pocket and tucked Stuart's card away in his wallet. I'll keep my eyes open, he promised. And Stuart thanked him, and they sat for a while in silence when the man spoke. Which direction are you headed? He asked. North, said Stuart. North is nice, said the repairman. I've always enjoyed going north. Of course, southwest is fine direction, too. Yes, I suppose it is, said Stuart thoughtfully. And there's east, continued the repairman. I once had an interesting experience on the easterly course. Do you want me to tell you about it? No, thanks, said Stuart. The repairman seemed disappointed, but he kept right on talking. There's something about north, he said, something that sets it apart from all the other directions. A person who is heading north is not making any mistake, in my opinion. That's the way I look at it, said Stuart. I'd rather expect that from now on I shall be traveling north until the end of my days. Worse things than that could happen to a person, said the repairman. Yes, I know, answered Stuart. Following a broken telephone line north, I've come upon some wonderful places, continued the repairman. Swamps where cedars grow and turtles wade on logs, but not for anything in particular. Fields bordered by crooked fences, broken by years of standing still. Orchards so old they have forgotten where the farmhouse is. In the north, I've eaten my lunch in pastures rank with ferns and junipers, all under skies with the wind blowing. My business has taken me to spruce woods on winter nights where the snow lay deep and soft, a perfect place for a carnival of rabbits. I have sat at peace on the freight platforms of railroad junctions in the north, in the warm hours with the warm smells. I know fresh lakes in the north undisturbed except for fish and halt, and of course by the telephone company, which has to follow its nose. I know all these places well. They are all a long way from here. Don't forget that. And a person who is looking for something doesn't travel very fast. That's perfectly true, said Stuart. Well, I guess I better be going. Thank you for your friendly remarks. Not at all, said the repairman. I hope you find that bird. Stuart rose from the ditch, climbed into the car, and started up the road that led toward the north. The sun was just coming up over the hills on his right as he peered ahead into the great land that stretched before him. The way seemed long. But the sky was bright, and he somehow felt he was headed in the right direction. There he goes. And that's the end of the story, guys. He's headed north. And I love how this story ends in the same way that you guys are heading in a new direction. You guys are all headed north, kind of up to first grade. All y'all going to first grade. How exciting is that? So next year when I see you in the hallway, you won't be going to the kindergarten classrooms. You'll be going to the first grade classrooms. I'm so proud of you all. I hope you enjoyed Stuart Little, and I will be seeing you soon, okay? Love you all. Bye.